LeLe can hardly wait. A friend of his big sister Juut, Fivjen the flamingo, is coming to visit. Baking cookies. The three of them had a special plan for the day. They were going to bake delicious cookies together in the cozy jungle kitchen. Before they began, they knew it was essential to start with clean hands. So, LeLe, Juut, and Fivjen gathered around the sink and washed their hands thoroughly, making sure they were ready for the delightful baking adventure. With their hands clean and spirits high, they set to work. Juut took charge and gathered all the necessary ingredients: flour, cornstarch, sugar, eggs, salt, butter, and vanilla. Fivjen joined in and helped LeLe measure the ingredients. LeLe felt so proud to be a part of the baking team. Juut placed the kitchen scale on the countertop, and LeLe eagerly grabbed the bag of flour. Spoon by spoon, he carefully added flour to the scale, stopping when it reached 240. Juut, with a reassuring smile, confirmed, "Yes, LeLe, that's the perfect amount." Next, they moved on to the sugar. Fivjen, Juut, and LeLe worked together, making sure every ingredient was precisely measured. As they continued, Dada appeared around the corner and inquired if the cookies were ready. Fivjen giggled and replied, "Not yet. We're still in the mixing and kneading stage." Once all the ingredients were weighed, they combined them and began to knead the dough with their hands. LeLe loved the feeling of the dough squishing between his fingers as they worked it into a smooth, cohesive ball. Juut was organized, and she knew that the dough needed some time to rest in the refrigerator. While the dough chilled, she took care of tidying up and washing the mixing bowls. After the dough had rested for half an hour, it was time for the fun part: rolling it out and cutting out the cookies. Fivjen had brought a flamingo-shaped cookie cutter, while Juut had her favorite, a unicorn. LeLe couldn't decide which one to use because he liked so many shapes. In the end, he chose a heart-shaped cutter for Mama and Dada and a star because he thought the stars at night were incredibly beautiful. LeLe rolled the dough out carefully, making sure it was the right thickness. Then, he used the cookie cutters to cut out the cookies and place them neatly on the baking paper. With the cookies ready to bake, Juut turned on the oven and set the temperature. She instructed LeLe to set the kitchen timer, and he eagerly did so, choosing the number 12. As the cookies baked, the kitchen filled with the delightful aroma of freshly baked treats. LeLe could hardly contain his excitement. He sat patiently on his chair, waiting for the timer to go off. The sweet scent of cookies wafted through the air, making him even more eager for the cookies to be ready. Finally, the timer sounded, and LeLe exclaimed, "The cookies are ready." Juut, wearing oven mitts, carefully opened the oven door, and a cloud of warm, sweet-smelling air rushed out. The cookies had turned a beautiful golden brown. Now, all that remained was for the cookies to cool before they could begin decorating them. LeLe's heart was filled with joy as he looked forward to adding the finishing touches to their creations. With the freshly baked cookies cooling on the kitchen counter, it was time for the final, and most fun, step: decorating. Juut and Fivjen had prepared a rainbow of icing colors and fondant for this special moment. LeLe watched in awe as Juut and Fivjen filled the piping bags with vibrant icing. They carefully explained how to create beautiful designs on the cookies. LeLe, being the little adventurer he was, eagerly picked up a piping bag, ready to give it his best try. It wasn't easy, but with patience and practice, LeLe started creating colorful patterns on his cookies. He was so absorbed in his decorating that at times, he couldn't resist licking a bit of icing from his fingers. It was too tempting to resist. As the trio continued to work, laughter filled the kitchen. LeLe felt incredibly proud of his cookie creations, each one a little piece of art made with love. When they were finished, LeLe couldn't wait to share his beautifully decorated cookies with Mama and Dada. He carefully presented them with his colorful creations, his eyes shining with excitement. Mama and Dada looked at the cookies, and their hearts filled with warmth. They could see the love and effort that had gone into making these special treats. With smiles on their faces, they praised LeLe for his fantastic decorating skills and thanked him for the thoughtful gesture. LeLe beamed with happiness, knowing that his cookies had brought joy and sweetness to his family. And as he drifted off to sleep that night, he felt grateful for the wonderful adventures life in the jungle brought his way.